Good morning, good morning, GM everybody. How we doing, Paul? Good morning, everybody joining me from the future, watching the recording, right? Good morning. It is April 16th, 2024. I don't know where April is going, but it is making off like a bandit. It's moving fast, setting records possibly for the fastest moving month. I'm not mad at it though, because we're here each and every day getting 1% better. So as the time goes on, I know that I'm making consistent investments into myself to close the gap between where I am and where I want to be. And I'm excited to do that with you guys. So I'm going to dive in. I've got a lot to do this morning, a busy morning, trying to figure out when I can fit some meetings in here today. So let's get through this. We're going to knock it out. Very short newsletter. But if you're new here, this is the pre-market prep session. And every day we go over the important news, notes, analysis, and trade ideas that are key to making sure that you're on the right side of movements in the market, right? And that you understand what's going on and that you know where to position your money. And so far, we've been very effective in that, right? Being positioned in gold, being positioned in oil. Those have been two of our biggest positions over the course of the past month and a half. And those were the right moves, right? And you get that insight from being here. As well as being in the group with us. So if you don't trade with us, make sure that you email me, adam@adamhollandeducates.com, so we can see about getting you trained up and ready to go with us. Make sure you throw one in the chat signifying your intention to get 1% better each and every day. We want to move with intention, move with reason. And that's exactly what we're looking to do today, right? So throw that one in the chat, and get ready to lock and load, right? Ready to roll out. Top news here. Speaking of all that jargon, military might. The phrase, quote, the best defense is a good offense is alive and well as countries continue to boost military spending to record levels ahead of the pack is the U.S., shocker, which has allocated $825 billion in defense expenditures for fiscal year 2024. That's an amount equivalent to the military expenses of the next 10 countries combined. And if factoring in non discretionary spending on defense, such as veterans benefits, that number would already be well north of $1 trillion on an annual basis. Now, in terms of a snapshot, taking notice of the spiraling conflicts taking place across the globe, many Western countries have been warned that, quote, the era of the peace dividend is over. France, which has been leading the defense spending charge across Europe under Emmanuel Macron, is raising military expenditures by more than one-third in the coming years. Another boost for NATO has come from founding member Norway, which has just presented plans to double the size of its defense budget, while the U.S. Congress is debating the best path forward for a vote on aid to Ukraine. Israel and Taiwan following Iran's attack over the weekend. So we're shelling out aid all over the place. The call for increases in defense spending comes at a time when the West is struggling with diminished military recruitment as well as pressure from giant debt loads and higher interest rates. Some have looked to defense stocks as a flight to arms trade, but returns there haven't always been exemplary, and only 4.4% of Wall Street Breakfast subscribers see the sector as an effective hedging mechanism. In fact, defense giants like RTX, Raytheon, and Lockheed Martin (LMT) are trading at roughly the same level seen before the COVID pandemic in March 2020, despite huge new contracts like the recently announced $17 billion ICBM interceptor program. And that underscores again why it's so important to be able to read the charts and understand whether or not the news matters, right? You could see news and people think, oh, this company gets this big contract. I'm going to go get calls, right? All I need to know is that calls mean it's going to go up. I think it's going to go up. I'm going to get calls. And then you get calls and you sit there and the stock doesn't do anything. You're like, man, this sucks. The stock market is rigged. You need to be able to read the charts to let you know when the buyers or the sellers are winning that battle so that you can place your bet on who it looks like will win the next chapter, right? The next chapter of that ongoing battle. Because news can simply not matter. It cannot register. It cannot manifest in the form of price action. It happens plenty of times. So you can't just take news and make, kind of YOLO moves with no care in the world. Without, the charts backing up what that news, what you think the sentiment or the result of that news will be. So You want the charts to show the same thing as what you're thinking as being probable, and then execute on that. Now, what to watch: existing backlogs and production capacity don't carry over to immediate new order revenues, which may be reflected in share prices. It also takes a long time for Western militaries to procure advanced weapons, while contractors have to ensure their margins, especially for hefty projects that may be subject to political or strategic reviews in the future. It's also important to note that some defense stocks are looked at more for their dividends, though there have been many share price winners in the sector. Um, all right, cool. Still all good on this front. Now, regulation, antitrust binge, shares of Live Nation, ticker LYV, are under pressure amid reports that the DOJ is preparing to file an antitrust lawsuit against the concert promoter and its Ticketmaster unit as soon as next month. Good, they should. You go in and I haven't gotten a ticket personally, but just seeing videos and stuff. You go in and you get a ticket, and the service fees and all that crap are like 3 times the amount of the ticket. It's crazy. The stock is off nearly 8% in pre-market trading, falling closer to the $90 level. Regulators will likely allege that Live Nation uses dominance to undermine competition for ticketing live events, although these specific charges aren't known. A DOJ decree forbidding Live Nation from threatening venues with loss of access to tours was extended to 2025 on account of repeated violations. So this just looks like more so like bullying tactics. To establish, monopolistic tendencies. Tech news: semiconductor seriousness. Soon after Samsung was awarded up to 6.4 billion in grants to boost its U.S. chip production, Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said she expects all the 39 billion in the CHIPS Act grant money to be allocated by the end of the year. Quote, "We're on a roll," she said on the sidelines of the event announcing Samsung's grant. "We've done 3 of these in the past month. We'll be doing more in the coming weeks." The awards so far have focused on advanced chips, with the largest grants going to Intel and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. The remaining grants will focus on memory chips and investments in suppliers, wafers, and chemicals. So we've got money being doled out. It hasn't really helped INTC at all. So, we'll have to, again, don't just hear the news and make moves based off the news. It hasn't really helped Intel at all. And I have to check out the chart for TSM here. Consumer news: conversion conundrum. Less than a year after its launch, Peloton has quietly pulled the plug on the unlimited free membership option. Fitness app Tier was introduced to draw consumers who didn't want to spend too much on Peloton equipment, with the expectation that they would eventually switch to paid memberships to access more classes, but it looks like that never materialized. Peloton shares slid 7.3% on Monday following the news. Not great, but they haven't had a great run thus far to begin with. Really since COVID, they have just been on a downward slope, stationary bike, downward slope, and have declined 46% year to date, wiping nearly $1 billion off the company's market cap. Yeah, getting acquired is literally their only hope at this point. Getting acquired by a big player that can make something happen, because they're just getting. It seems like every little spark they try and get going to manifest something just fizzles out expeditiously. In terms of today's markets, looking mostly red here. In Asia, Japan, we're down 1.9%, Hong Kong down 2.1, China down 1.7, India down 0.6, the footy in London down 1.4, Paris down 1.2, Frankfurt down 1.2%, the Dow up 0.3%, S&P down 0.1, Nasdaq down 0.1, crude down 0.5%, gold up 0.1, Bitcoin down 6.2% to 62,541. Just rip to all the people. Rest in peace to all the people FOMO buying Bitcoin at like 75K or whatever it's at. Heading into the halving. I mean, if you buy it, then you obviously believe deeply in what it is and what it does and the use case and all that stuff. But it's just like, stop chasing everything. Go somewhere, learn, right? Learn what to look for so that you're not late to the party and you're the one that's left holding the bag on everything. Obviously, if you believe in Bitcoin, you don't think it's stopping at 75K, right? Some people predict 100K this year, but it's like, if you keep finding yourself buying at the top, buying at the top, buying at the top, buying at the top, change something, right? The money that you spend buying the top and the mental capital that you burn frustrating yourself by trying to save money is really what is going to hack you out of ever getting done what you want to get done. And it's unfortunate that we live in a world now where people just hack themselves out of their life. And, you've heard me talk about this before, but there's not a hack to everything. There really isn't, right? There are certain things that you have to do, but they still require effort. They still require investment. LeBron being able to still play at the level that he does, the age that he does. I'm not a LeBron stan, right? I don't like LeBron at all. I'm a Wizards fan. He crushed us for years. But the fact that he's still playing at the level that he is, people are like, oh, what's the hack? What's this? What's that? Yeah, there are definitely certain things that he does, like focusing on core strength, losing weight, midway through his career to make sure that it wasn't as big of a strain on his joints. He did a lot of things, but that all required effort and execution and investment, right? There aren't just hacks that you have to do nothing. That doesn't exist, right? If you do nothing, you get nothing. That is the end result. So you never want to be looking to do absolutely nothing. Look to invest in yourself. It's an honor to do so, and then follow through with that, and then you reap the rewards. But people tell me, "Oh, well, I was in this, and then it wasn't doing so hot, so I switched over because I saw this was doing hot, and then it wasn't doing so hot, so I switched over." It's like you're just buying everything at the top, and that's not what we want, right? That's not what we're about in this community. So if you struggle with that, the door is always open. If you want to, continue to struggle with it, then piece it together from YouTube videos and TikToks and Instagram Reels, because that is the result that piecing things together will get. Today's economic calendar, the biggest thing is going to be Powell speaking at 1:15 p.m. That's the biggest. So set your alerts for that, alarms. What else is happening? We'll wrap up here with our rapid fire stock news rundown. Another record, gold extends safe haven rise despite a strong dollar. Goldman Sachs earnings beat as global banking markets revive. GS with a big beat. Good sign for banks. Reddit, ticker RDDT, slips despite street coverage weighed to the upside. Microsoft invests $1.5 billion in UAE AI firm G42. Brad Smith to join the board. Tim Cook in Hanoi. Apple vows more spending on Vietnam suppliers. China's GDP growth tops estimates helped by support measures. And then strong results from United Health despite cyber attack impact. And then Meta to temporarily got hair in my mouth. Meta to temporarily shutter Twitter rival threads in Turkey. And then Trump Media, ticker DJT, sinks after registering shares warrants for sale. DJT is just straight down crazy. But anyways, you guys, that wraps it up here this morning for the important news as we go into the day. Jerome Powell parting those meat flaps at 1:15 p.m. So be aware of that. Be locked in and ready for that. And that, seems to be the biggest kind of landmine that will happen over the course of today. But we're on the lookout, right, to see what SPY wants to do from here. We're finally getting what might be a pullback with some legs. Right. Again, I'm not going to be the one that's looking to jump and short an insanely bullish market. The trend is your friends. You want to go and move in congruence, with the trend. And that's what we look to do. So tax day historically has been a low that we push from over the course of the past a long time. I think it was like since 1984. I've got to look and see, but for a long, long, long time, tax day seems to be the bottom. And then if you buy the dip on tax day, you end up very well off. So we're looking to see if there is a reversal, right? We're keeping our eyes peeled for a post-tax day reversal. Not banking on it. We need the signs to manifest on the charts, right? Some people are like, oh, you told me this. No, I said this has happened in the past. There are completely different circumstances now in the present. Watch the charts to let you know that this is still probable, and then you execute, right? So that's what we're looking to do. So everybody, let's have a great rest of the day. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning for our next Premarket Prep stream. Have a good one.